Let me see if it's popped up.
Brian, I asked about the yard sale thing and I didn't get an answer from anybody.
Okay.
Okay, you're on YouTube now. You can
Okay, I guess we can go ahead and start the meeting. It's 8:30. First thing is a continuance on the food delivery discussion. I know there was emails back and forth talking about this.
If you don't mind, I'll go ahead and share my screen. I just want to show you guys what IT has come up with. Give me a second. You see it?
Well, I'm behind, so.
Can you guys see that?
Yep.
Yes, I can.
Okay, good. So, I mean, I'll let Marty talk about the funding and stuff too, but this is one of the things that we talked about yesterday. So the public would have the ability to go to our website on their phone, you know, on our website, and they would be able to fill out this form requesting a food box. So let's just go through it real quick here. Help with food needs, the date.
And this is all changeable. We can put
Oh.
whatever we want in it.
Yeah, this is.
Because you're not on that. You're just on, this is just showing
Okay,
the form.
never mind.
So you don't have to run, you can just show this is what
Okay.
it would.
So they would put the date, name, address, food deliveries. We talked about having, instead of actually going to their house, getting a grocery list, getting their payment method, we would offer a box, kind of like what you would get if you went to the food pantry. So a box of milk, bread, eggs, some lunch meat, maybe some hamburger meat. And there'd be 2 boxes to choose from. So they would choose a box with the essentials. And then also there's an option down here, restaurant deliveries. And you saw the email that I sent out yesterday. Each day, let me tell you, the restaurants are super excited about this. Each day there would be one restaurant featured, and it would be listed here, whatever, you know, day it is, it'd be listed here. They would fill this form out, hit submit, and then the form would go to whoever it needs to go to. But this is all, I mean, this is just an example.
So where would they access this form?
On our website.
On our website?
And then I'm sure that the media could put it out.
You need to respell restaurant.
This was a quick get up, Rick.
That word is hard.
The other thing we talked about was them calling a phone number, and somebody, like what Bernadette had said, was somebody from the clerk's office could fill the form out for them, because that was one of her concerns, was not everybody's got internet access or is internet savvy enough to find this and fill it out themselves.
Right.
Good thought, because I was just worried about the same thing as I'm sitting here talking about it.
Now I know you had talked about that these people would be possibly paying for the groceries and the hot food, but I mean, is it possible that we pay for it? And this is, you know, they get a box of essentials, like, let's just say the box is $28. If they want to make a donation, they can. If not, fine. You know, a lot of people in our county, I don't know how much of a need there is for this, but there's a lot that are still out of a job and they don't have the money. That's why they're not going to the restaurant getting hot food or groceries.
Well, I think I heard Marty say something about that they had to be in basically 51% of the poverty level or something like that. I see Edwin's on here, and Edwin, that came from Edwin, I believe. And I mean, if it's for the poor folks, then I think we should give them the food for free.
I think the rule, if I, and I'm glad Edwin is able to join us. We'll get to him and he'll be able to help us with some of this. But the way I understand the rule is we have to have documentation that 51% of the people that are being served, at least 51% or more of the people being served, are low to moderate income. So it isn't really, you don't have to be poverty stricken in order to get this. And I hope we'll be able to craft it so that the many people who are, fully employed, but are laid off and are, really facing a tough time because of this, will be able to take advantage of this. And yes, the way I understand the program is funding also includes actually the cost of the supplies or the food. Now, one of the things that I think is going to be interesting one to look at, though, is I'm sure some people will probably, be willing and able to pay. And it would be nice if we could also serve people like that, because, we also are trying to stimulate business for the restaurants, right? So.
Right.
Edwin, can you say something about that?
Yeah, I actually talked to Jerry White yesterday afternoon, and there were two ways this could go in. One was what they call limited clientele, and that is where you'd have to take the income verification from each person that applies to get the supplies, and at least 50% low to moderate. Well, last he said we go in under area benefit, which you have a plan that was done in 2018. So that would just qualify the whole county. So that way we don't have to verify the income of each person that applies. Since the whole county qualifies, it would just be whoever the county would have to set up guidelines on how they disperse, who they disperse the supplies to.
Maybe I should explain real quick. I'm going to interject. This is Edwin Buswell. He's with KIRPC, and Jerry White, who is our representative with Okra, suggested that we needed assistance, and that KIRPC and Edwin at KIRPC would be a good person to help us to get through the application process for this Okra grant. And he was kind enough to join us today. And one of the things I want to bring to the commissioner's attention is, whether to engage their services on this. Do you want to explain that real quickly, Edwin?
Yeah, when Okra set up this COVID-19 response program, they said the local communities don't have to have a grant administrator for these, where usually you would. If you choose to have a grant administrator, you can. They allowed for 2.5% for admin fees. We've done a few of these already. We're only charging 2% just to cover our expenses. But we can assist however you'd like us to assist.
So,
Well,
go ahead.
I have a feeling, knowing Okra, this isn't always as easy as it seems, and we'd be far better served to utilize the services of KIRPC to help us with this. Otherwise, we're liable to run in a lot of paper troubles without some help.
So yeah, we'd be glad to assist. I've already started the application. It's pretty much, I just need a few more details to finish the application. So.
But just so I understand, we could actually, the entire county technically, because I don't want to have to ask every single person, well, now what was your income last year? And I mean, that would be way too hard to administer it. And everybody here in Stark County is affected by the COVID virus. So I don't know why that just sounds crazy to me to have to go through that kind of red tape.
Right. It's much easier if we can use the income survey, and that's the guidance Jerry gave me yesterday afternoon.
And didn't we have one recently, or are we past our 4 years or whatever it
No,
is?
it was done in 2018, so it's still good.
Oh,
So,
good, good. That makes that easy then.
yeah.
So I guess one thing I'm just suggesting, I think probably the commissioners, if you want Kirpsey and Edwin to continue with this, you probably need a motion to, ask them to take that action, to authorize that action, I guess.
So is there a
I'd be
motion
happy
on
to
that?
make that. Yeah, I'd be happy to make that motion.
Second that.
All in favor?
I,
One thing we have to do still is have a public hearing. It doesn't have to be done before the application goes in, but we'd like to get it done as soon as possible. It can be done electronically like this, that's fine. So if we get it in, the earliest we can get it in is next week's newspaper. So does that come out on Thursday or Friday?
Thursday.
Thursday. So the earliest we could have the public hearing would be the 11th, May 11th. So I just need to know what time you want to do that.
which is a Monday.
Monday. It can be any time that week if you want. I mean, the 11th's the earliest it could be.
But it can be by electronic, because I'm not, I'd be okay. I don't know how much public input we would get if it was electronic is the problem, but
It's just a formality. It's a requirement. They don't really, it's not required that you have a lot of public comment.
Edwin, I know it probably doesn't comply with that, but we have actually done a public survey already on this so I can give you the details of that. Jackie Ryan is on here, and she actually was the one who conducted that survey for the Constellation of Stark Executive Committee. So we do have some of that already, and you may have been aware of that. I know it doesn't probably comply with the hearing requirement, but we have started on the outreach.
Yeah, if you could give me some of that details, I can put it in the application. Yeah, we still have to have the public hearing.
so when would be the soonest, Edwin, that we could initiate this program, regardless because I also kind of understood that we could get some reimbursement as long as we don't use our $41,000 for this.
Okay.
So could we start it like next week and pending the hearing and get reimbursed for that if we had another revenue stream to do that and pending reimbursement?
I'll have to ask Jerry about that. We haven't gotten that far on any of our projects yet, so.
Well, and the reason I'm wondering is because we need it now. We don't need it like after we jump through all the hoops and the red tape 6 weeks from now. I mean, we probably did then too, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Okra's trying to make this as streamlined as possible. So like I said, I'll just have to ask Okra how soon we can start incurring costs.
Kathy, I talked to Jerry about that. I mean, when I spoke to Jerry yesterday also, we were just, sort of getting started. And I don't know that I have the definitive answer on that, but what it looks like is that we may be able to start the program using money as long as we don't use federal money, and then we can get a reimbursement for that. And I'm trying to arrange for some funding from the community foundation to that would qualify as local funds, because what Jerry said was we just have to use local funds. We can't use state or federal funds, particularly federal funds. So if we started the program funded with local funds, then we could seek reimbursement. And he seemed to encourage that. I know that's not a guarantee. Obviously, there'd be some risk associated with that, but that would allow us to get it started. Now, we haven't secured these community foundation funds yet, but it looks promising. Does that all make sense, Edwin?
Yeah, as long as Okra says, I mean, I assume that would be what they're doing, because I know they don't want to wait until all the red tape's through. I just like
local funds. Go ahead, sorry.
I'd just like to have something in writing from Okra before anything's done completely.
Yeah, no kidding. But local funds are also our seeded funds. But we would have to, get council approval to borrow from those. They'd have to appropriate them. And they don't meet again until after the public hearing, the week after the public hearing. So if we could get them from the community foundation, it'd be better. But if we can't, then, that's an alternative. Ask them to convene for a special meeting, I guess, by telephone or whatever.
What you could do too is if you want this program to be started, let's just say Monday, you could use a little bit of that stimulus payment until you get your funds. And then that stimulus, it just won't be paid back, but I'm sure that we won't be using a lot.
Well, you have a point there too.
Yeah, that was.
Are you
that's
saying,
what-
I'm sorry, just to be clear, Rachel, are you saying that the council doesn't have to appropriate those funds, the commissioners can decide?
That's correct.
Oh, okay. A little slush fund.
But
My understanding was that, just to be clear to everybody, because I don't know if everybody's aware of all this, well, that money from the, from the CARE program, from the federal government, that money it'd be okay to spend it, but it's not reimbursable because that's a federal fund. And so what would be reimbursable would be money that wasn't federal and probably not state funds either, but we could use local funds. And Jerry told me, now, once again, this isn't in writing, we need this in writing, but Jerry told me that if they were from a charitable institution, such as the Community Foundation, those would be reimbursable. And I know the Community Foundation is working on a grant right now. I'm hopeful that that will come through quickly. And then that would be a great way to do it. I think they'd work with us on that if that was possible.
Yeah, I think you're right about that, Marty. Yeah, that would probably be the preferable way to go.
Mhm.
One thing Jerry did mention yesterday when I talked to him was that they awarded their first grants yesterday, Okra did, and nobody got the full amount that they requested. That they're trying to spread the money around, so we might not get the full 250.
On a percentage basis, Edwin, can you give us an idea of what we might expect?
No, he didn't tell me that. I can try to find out from him. Yeah.
Okay.
The Community Foundation grant they're seeking is $125,000. And I think, my understanding is they'd be willing to work with us on that part. Of course, to the extent we can get reimbursement, then that leverages that to be, more so.
That's good. That's good.
Marty, how quick do you think we would be able to get money from the Community Foundation?
I think it could be any time now, honestly. It's a Lilly Foundation application, and I think, as soon as there's a verification that it's actually approved, that this would be possible to get this going, because everybody recognizes that we need to get this service going now, not 3 weeks from now. So that's, I think, where we're at on it. I hope to get something more on that soon, but as you know, I guess the key thing I wanted was to get Edwin working on this so we'd have things in writing, just like he says. We need to have it all confirmed. Right now, I just got a phone call that I had with Jerry yesterday.
So did we decide on a time and date for the public hearing?
So what is our next step? I mean, we've voted to move forward with Curbsy as the administrator.
Kathy, setting
What
the
else
hearing,
would
I
we-
think. setting the hearing for the,
Oh,
he-
on the
Edwin was
11th.
that, like May 11th or the 12th are probably the two choices, right? That you would like to see, one of those two?
Yeah, this,
Well, I leave that up to Brian and Charlie. I'm fairly flexible, especially if we have video conferencing. I mean, as an, option for that, but
Yeah. Yeah, if that's what we're doing, I'd be fine with something in the morning, really.
Be fine
yeah, I
with-
kind of like, it's a little easier in the morning.
Yeah.
With this, especially with this video conferencing, it's, you don't have to turn your camera on or anything.
9 AM.
Rachel, is there anything on the 11th that doesn't work? I mean, it looks good for me.
Is May 11th at 9 AM okay?
It's fine
Works for me.
yeah.
Works for me.
Do you want them to just contact then Rachel if they want the link to get on, or how?
Well, can we just publicize that on our website, or an option to call Rachel for the link, or? Because those links are kind of lengthy. I mean,
Right.
and it's easier if you just click on them.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know one of our towns that applied just said, contact the town if you want the link. City of Knox is doing one, and they just put it, they're having a conference call, so they just put in the number to call.
You can just have it contact the Stark County Auditor's Office.
Okay.
And we'll webcast it so people can make comments from the webcast without even doing that, right? So that's somewhat helpful. We'll make sure we get, we look at the written comments from the webcast too.
Okay, I'll just have them.
So 9 o'clock on Monday, the 11th,
Okay.
by Zoom meeting.
I have to put in a local contact person if someone has questions.
If someone what?
If someone reads the ad and they have questions, I have to put in a local contact person that they can call and ask questions.
Probably be Rachel. She's in the office usually most every day.
Okay.
Do you object, Rachel? Do you mind?
Oh, that's fine. One thing so if you do plan on using any funds like from CEDAT, et cetera, that the council would have to approve, it has to be published in the paper 10 days before their hearing. So I need to get that in if that's what you're thinking you may do. Even though we publish it, doesn't mean that you have to do it, but if you may do it, I need to get it into the paper.
I think we better probably put it in there, I would say.
I think I would rather be safe than sorry.
Yeah.
What
I like the idea of using the community foundation. That'd be much better, but that could be an alternative as part of the advertisement, I guess, if in case we can't get them, but then we would have to schedule a meeting with the council.
And I can work with Dave and Brad, and Brad's actually on this call here today too.
Well, Brad, can you comment on that? What your opinion is on that, please? You have to unmute your mic though. Oh. What are your thoughts, Brad?
It doesn't matter to me. I think that if we're gonna have to do that if we can't get the community foundation money.
Okay.
How much do you want? I have to put an amount. So how much do you want me to put in for it? Just because we put in an amount doesn't mean that you have to use that amount. It's just what I need to put a certain amount.
Well, we're asking for 250 from Okra, but we know they're not, I would say maybe 100,000. What do you think, Marty? I mean, does that sound like a reasonable?
That was exactly the number I was thinking. I mean, that should be ample. I think the odds are really good that we'll be able to do this with the community foundation. So this is really just a plan B anyway, really.
Okay. That sound okay to you, Brad?
Yeah, I think the more you go for, you don't have to use it, but this way we don't have to go back and try again.
Okay, that sounds good.
Are you wanting that to come from your seated?
The regular seated, I think, yes, that's the only way, that's the only local funds we have that are not, have the potential to be non-committed, because we couldn't use jail seated because that's restricted.
Yeah.
But we can use the regular seated.
Okay.
And just to be clear, these are and this should be reimbursed. And Jerry, indicated to me that is no local match on this. So what you're really talking about is money to be then reimbursed. It shouldn't cost anything. Now, there's always a risk of Okra running out of money or something like that. But the idea is not that this will cost, but that it's just funds that will be reimbursed.
I understand.
I'll have a draft of this application done probably by this afternoon. I'll send that to Marty. Does anybody else want to see the draft of the application? I'll send it to Jerry White at the same time so he can look it over before we submit it.
Okay, I don't necessarily personally need to see it. I mean, you know what the requirements are on those applications, and if Marty's looking at it, I'd be comfortable with that.
They're not asking for a whole lot of information, and these applications are pretty streamlined. So,
Well, I got 2 kids with e-learning here, and that's an exercise in futility as well. So.
Okay.
All right. So we got that set for May 11th as the public hearing then, and I guess that would be next. Is there anything else on this then we need to discuss?
Rachel, did you get a hold of any of the grocery stores yesterday?
So I contacted both Save-A-Lot and 5 Star. I talked to their managers, but they told me I had to talk to the owners. I left a message with the owners and I haven't heard back yet.
Did the managers sound like they were interested in doing anything, or it was, were they?
Oh, the
I've
manager.
never had any good luck with either 2 of the grocery stores, so I was kind of happy when you stepped up and said you would.
The managers just said, I don't know, you'll have to talk to the owner. So I'm just waiting to talk to them.
Well, I in particular, 5 Star, they should give us some sort of a discount as well. And here's why I say that. I remember when Oscar was the sheriff, he purchased quite a few of his groceries there, and he negotiated a discount. I think it was a 10% discount with them for whatever he bought. But of course, that was, I suppose, contingent on him buying all of his groceries there, but he decided that they were too expensive, and so he kind of picked and chose, and they got upset and took away the discount, if I recall correctly, but my memory fades. I don't remember for sure, but regardless, for $250,000 potential business above and beyond what they've already got, I would think that they can offer us some sort of a discount, as their contribution to the COVID crisis.
Well,
There's only really 2 grocery stores in town, and that's Save-A-Lot and 5 Star in the whole county, really. I mean, fortunately, there are some groceries at like Dollar General and stuff like that, but not like you can get a 5 Star and Save-A-Lot. So
the jail still does purchase some groceries from 5 Star. And the good thing about both 5 Star and Save-A-Lot is that they already have our tax identification number and the forms needed not to charge us tax. So we already have a lot of the paperwork done with them.
okay, do they give the jail any discount? Do you know, Rachel?
I'm not sure if they give them a discount. I just see I don't see any discount on the ticket, just the total.
Well, I would make that clear in your conversations that the commissioners would like to be able to publicize that they are making a contribution to our community as well with this discount, because the more you can negotiate a discount on it, the further this program will go. So
A discount is good, but why we were contacting the grocery stores to see if they would do the curbside pickup, if the elderly could call in their order or do an email or some kind of web form.
I
And
thought we were delivering. I thought Rick said there was a,
for
I
the,
mean, that's the point. I guess that's kind of the point of getting them out, isn't it?
yes, the form that they're filling out is for a general box, but we didn't want, it could be very lengthy if we have to pick and choose, you know, everybody's shopping list. If somebody wants, I don't know, gorgonzola cheese and they don't have any of that cheese, how are we going to pick from what they have to offer to replace it? Or is the recipient even?
I thought the offer was going to be box 1 or box 2, and that's it.
Yeah, that and this was kind of just a additional item we had talked about yesterday, Kathy. Nothing set in stone yet. Was just an additionally, if the grocery stores will be willing to do a like curbside pickup, we wouldn't have to do anything, but they kind of like Walmart grocery. So you order your groceries online and then they bring it out to your car.
That would be, I would think, something separate from this, because I don't know if they're set up for that. I mean, that would require,
Right.
you know, inventory of their store and pretty savvy IT. Section. I don't know if 5-star and them's got that.
Yeah, that would be separate from this.
Well, here's my thought. If we're going to offer this box 1 or box 2, which is what I thought we were going with, not a whole pick and choose grocery list. I think that would be just simply separate if 5-star would want to do that. But if we're doing box 1 or box 2, if they box it up and give us a discount, then because we've always talked about doing it as a delivery. Rick has mentioned that they've got, you know, a spare vehicle or truck or ambulance or something to deliver it in, and you can kind of pick and choose your route. And I also kind of understood that if we get the 250,000 or something along those lines, I think Marty wanted to be able to hire somebody to do that. Is that right, Marty?
That was, yes, in short. However, once again, going back to the Community Foundation, they've crafted their grant to cover the cost of administration through that, hopefully. So once again, I think that would be reimbursable, I believe, through this grant, though. So I hope that answers your question.
Well, sort of. It sounds, we're talking about two separate things. We're talking about the box deliveries, and we're talking about something that we can't control anyway. It would be up to the grocery stores to have this online shopping, not us. We wouldn't be involved in that whatsoever.
Well, that's right. I mean, I guess I'll just put it this way. We were looking at what are the needs. One of the things that we noticed was that this county didn't have any place that was offering that service, and that was, you know, kind of a problem, frankly, and trying to think of a way to maybe induce the stores, work with the stores to provide that service so that people wouldn't have to leave the county in order to shop without going into the store. And I mean, I don't know if we came up with the right answer to that, but it was something that I was actually kind of wondering, and maybe this is just hopeful, that just a couple of phone calls saying, You know, you're not doing that. Other places are doing it. What, you know, what can we do to, you know, get you doing that? Maybe they would just do it, right? I don't know, because
was
maybe
the
they nobody had asked them. I don't know. One thing that we noticed repeatedly with the Constellation of Stark group, one of the biggest things that people constantly observed was that, you know, the better grocery shopping options and that sort of thing. And that was something that would benefit the county. And this seemed like an opportunity to try to take some action to get that happening. But I don't know if it fits well into the grant or not. That's one of the reasons we got Edwin, and I hope he'll help us to see what we can do and what we can't do. That was a need we ran into, but I don't know if we found the answer to it.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Do you see a problem with that?
What?
What, how do you, so they can get whatever they want, they don't have to go between the boxes,
No,
whichever.
no, we are,
Yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
well, that's curbside. If,
That, okay, as long as they're paying for themselves. Anyways, we don't know if they're in the lower brackets or not, they're unemployed or still working or what.
how Curbsy's gonna put in the application, we don't need to ask about their income.
Yeah.
It's just gonna fall under everyone. But what we're doing, or what we want to do, is just a box to choose from, and then the hot food. The curbside thing, that's just kind of up to the grocery stores.
Yeah. Okay.
Is there any more discussion on this then? So we'll move on. Agenda. Next would be the searcher discussion. There were some emails yesterday back and forth on this. I feel like we shouldn't take the risk of allowing outside searchers in. I don't know how you guys feel about it.
I agree with you on that, and I think just keep it the way it is for now.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with that as well.
I think we can move on because I mean, we can't do nothing else with that anyway. So I think they just stick to what they're doing right now. So we'll have to move forward with it. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from April 7th, 2020?
Second.
I'll second it.
Was there a motion? Brian, did you make a motion on that?
Yeah, I thought Kathy said so moved and I second it, but I guess, yeah, I'll make a motion.
Okay, Kathy second, and then all those in favor? Aye.
Sometimes I just wait and give you an opportunity to talk.
Is there any other further business that he's discussed?
You know, just a reminder that we need to set that executive session. We could set the executive session now, or we can do it later, but we do need to get it scheduled.
Whenever you want it, I guess, it seems like for Charlie in particular, it's better in the morning if we're doing it by Zoom camera, and that's fine for me too. And I don't know, Brian, is early in the morning okay with you?
Fine with me.
Okay.
So whenever that you would like that, Marty, that would be fine.
Okay, I'll get a time and circulate it.
Okay. Is any other business? If nothing further, make a motion to adjourn.
Make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.